Eric Pride here with a quick Dark Souls video. Real quick, I just want to talk about parrying in Dark Souls 3 and why I think that it is a really good skill to develop, especially if you are invading or if you have been invaded. A lot of people have complaints about parrying in this game and in all of the Souls games in general because parrying ends fights very quickly and they don't like this. The best way, in my opinion, to learn how to parry is to simply practice. Most Souls players started the game by blocking attacks throughout their playthrough, which means that you have a habit or a reflex of hitting the L1 or the left bumper to block when attacks are incoming. People who want to learn how to parry, my advice is, first off, go out and learn how to parry against the enemies on the map, because you can consistently parry against them if you try, and because they aren't going to mix it up on you and change their tactics and kill you. So as far as a baseline for learning how to parry, go find a Black Knight, like in that clip I just showed. Go find a Hollow. Go find any enemy and practice parrying against them until you have developed your muscle memory to a sufficient point that you are more in the habit of hitting your left trigger with whatever it is that you're parrying with, as opposed to wanting to instantaneously block. Then take those skills into player versus player combat and continue to develop them, because I guarantee you that as soon as you go player versus player, it's a whole different ballgame and you are going to get killed quite frequently. My favorite parrying items are the small leather shield, the target shield, the buckler, the cestus, and the and the Llewellyn shield. Those are all good things to parry with. Now, parrying in player versus player is a little bit different. The first place that parrying is very useful for, especially as an invader, is R1 spam. Crowds tend to drop good tactics in order to just try to kill you as quickly as possible with a whole bunch of R1 attacks. And if you get experience with parrying, even if you have multiple people attacking you, you'll be able to parry and kill these players. Another thing that parrying is really useful for, shockingly, is dealing with multiple players. And part of the reason for this is that when you get a parry and a successful riposte, it puts you into iframes that can't be interrupted and you can't be hurt in. Now, whether or not this is fair can certainly be debatable. Also, it's stopping that person from attacking me right there. Whether or not this is fair is debatable, but you're able to do a large amount of damage in a very short window. Now, when it comes to parrying in duels, there's another R1 spam parry. Very, very efficient for dealing with multiple targets, and when you're an invader, this particular host has 2 summons, although the host is not showing up because they're scared. When you're dealing with multiple targets, getting that parry can actually be crucial for ending the fight quickly. Now, I started to talk about parrying in duels, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about that real quickly. I recommend very strongly that you don't, as an inexperienced parrier, go into a duel thinking that you're going to learn how to parry against an experienced dueler. You're not, because experienced duelers know how to deal with parrying, and it's very difficult to parry most duelers. If you just throw out parry spam like crazy, you might eventually get a parry, but it's probably just going to get you killed. On top of that, parrying is typically looked at as bad form in duels because it ends fights very quickly, which is funny because Estus is looked at as bad form because it prolongs fights. In my experience and in my opinion, the only thing that is truly, or should be, not used at all in duels is Estus. But that being said, don't show up to the average duel thinking that you're going to get a parry. It's probably not going to happen unless you're very skilled. Parrying, however, is spectacular in invasions and when you've been invaded, and those rules don't have to be observed, and most of the players just want to kill you as quickly as possible. They're not looking for a drawn-out fight. Okay, so now that I've said that about duels, I advise that everyone out there go and invade if they want to learn how to parry, or get invaded and practice. Once you've got your muscle memory down from practicing against enemies on the map, go and practice it as an invader. And note, you're going to get called a parry spammer. You're going to get called a scrub. People are going to make fun of you for being bad. But the only way to learn how to parry is to actually practice it. And on top of that, The other thing that's important to note is that even experienced players, when they throw out parries, a lot of times they miss. It'd be like if somebody's blocking your attacks constantly, you called them a block scrub or something. Yes, fine, they're a block scrub, but they're holding down the button to block multiple attacks. And when you're parrying, parries will often miss, especially in times of ridiculousness. And so people are going to call you a parry scrub. Don't even worry about it. I've watched Color Bars, Judah, some of the other YouTubers, and when they're trying to parry a player, they're often throwing out some parries that miss. Now, the percentage is pretty low, but they do exist. Those missed parries do exist, and especially as a beginning parrier, you are going to miss parries. Don't even worry about it. Don't let it give you up. It's like missing an attack. Who cares if you miss a swing? It's going to happen. So that's parrying versus multiple targets, parrying versus R1 spam, and the basics of learning how to parry. There's another R1 spam parry. It's one of the easiest parries to get in the game. It ends fights quickly. It kills phantoms very quickly, and it makes situations in which you're dealing with multiple enemies much easier to handle, and that's at any soul level. This particular video is me at, I think, soul level 13. I've got a total of 5 Estus flasks, or 3, I don't know, 4, I'm not sure, as an invader. I think I had either 8 or 10 as a actual host, and they're only at +3. I am using a Hornet Ring, and that does absolutely make me a twink scrub. I love doing low-level runs. I think that they're a lot of fun. But you can use parrying tactics at higher soul levels, and it does end fights quickly. Now, I'm going to go over some quick places where you can parry people efficiently in player versus player. You're going to, obviously, parrying is about telegraphing moves. Other than R1 spam, one of my favorites is I just drank an Estus flask and you should punish me. It's a lure that can make your target attack you and often can result in a parry and riposte. I really like to drink Estus when it's not necessary in order to bait this attack. Yes, I'm that kind of a scrub, and it frequently works, especially in invasion scenarios. There are a lot of other tactics that you can use to get successful parries. You can parry coming out of a roll, or when your enemy has rolled at you, especially against low-level players. Parrying against traded hits is a good one, because sometimes you'll get into like a, I'm going to keep trading hits with this person mentality. If you're interested in any of those other tactics on higher skill level parrying, I recommend that you check out the plethora of other much better videos that you can find on YouTube by people like Vegeta. He's absolutely somebody I would recommend. Color Bars has a decent one. Judas, of course, has got plenty of stuff. Those are all ones that I would recommend. This was really just about the basics and trying to encourage everyone to get into it, get out there, practice parrying. It'll make you a better player. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you learned something, and until next time.